The best place to work.
I love working here.
I feel very blessed.
I love it here.
I look forward to coming to work every day, being a part of this team.
Like a family away from home.
Where everyone feels like everybody knows their name.
The city that supports you, we see that with our benefits.
A pension, vacation days, job security.
Being able to be heard.
We feel valued, we feel respected.
Lee's Summit is a very progressive city.
It's growing, it's thriving.
We have this drive towards not just doing a job, but doing it with a spirit of excellence.
I had the opportunity to continue to grow, regardless of 30 plus years doing this kind of work.
It's more than just dollars and cents.
We're here really to give back.
Providing a service to better a community.
To go out and serve people.
To be a part of something bigger than yourself. If I would have known what I know now, years ago, I would have been here much sooner.
Hello, Lee Summit. I'm Jordan. Here's your flash briefing for the week of September 29th. Join District 1 Council members Mia Pryor and Hillary Shields for a town hall on October 1st at the Raintree Lake Clubhouse, located at 825 Southwest Raintree Drive. Discuss ideas in city services and learn about exciting new initiatives and projects. This is an open forum. Unable to attend, the meeting will be live streamed on the city's YouTube channel. The city has partnered with the Community Blood Center for a blood drive on October 7th from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Green Street Market. Your donation can save lives. Register today on the city's website. Volunteer for Stream Team and help protect our local streamside habitats by removing litter and debris from streams within the city's parks. This event will take place on October 11th from 10 a.m. to noon at Upper Banner Park. Trash bags and gloves are provided. Student and Scout community service hours are available. Volunteers must register and sign a waiver before the event. Learn more on the city's website. The city is looking for a procurement officer to join their team. This position provides high-quality service to city departments by efficiently processing cooperative agreements and small solicitations for commodities and services. If this sounds like you or someone you know, apply today at lspeople.net. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
The City of Lee's Summit has hundreds of traffic lights across its more than 1,000 lane miles, all managed by the city's Public Works traffic technicians. The work happens inside those metal boxes on the side of each intersection. Inside, technicians program a device called the controller. The controller communicates directly with each signal head via underground wires, telling each light when to turn on and off based on a programmed cycle. City traffic engineers design this cycle to allow traffic to flow as efficiently as possible for that particular intersection. In order to best match current traffic patterns, they install something called a detection system. Detection systems have taken many forms over the years, from sensors in the pavement to radar boxes. But in Lee's Summit, they primarily consist of cameras, which workers mount above the traffic signals. These cameras don't record video or your speed. Instead, they monitor the spaces at the front of the intersection and identify when a vehicle is present in a specific spot. Once a vehicle is identified, the detection system sends a message to the controller, which then adapts its standard cycle to best serve the cars that are present. The pedestrian button works in a similar way. When the button is pressed, the controller receives a signal, requesting that it allow that section of the pedestrian walkway to go, which it then inserts into the signal pattern. Technicians also install something called a conflict monitor. The conflict monitor is a device in which they program all the potential patterns of lights that would lead to a collision. If the other systems mistakenly trigger those patterns, the conflict monitor sends the intersection into flash, causing all lights to flash red and directing drivers to treat it like an all-way stop. City traffic technicians implement and maintain these systems so effectively, we rarely consider them. But every time we safely pass through a signal-controlled intersection, it's all thanks to their work. So the next time you're waiting at a red light, remember the delicate coordination of super smart systems that move you through that space safely and efficiently every day.
Officers en route, 914, armed robbery.
It's extremely rewarding overall. Just the fact of working with other council people and other volunteer commission members that are so involved and care so much about making this community better. It sort of kind of lifts your own spirits by being involved in that kind of environment with other people like that. For many years, I was a typical resident, raising a family, going to work, in many cases leaving the city for employment, and went through a leadership class through the chamber, learned a lot about our city and learned about all the great amenities and resources we have, and was asked if I was interested in volunteering on a commission. I said yes, and kind of the rest is history. I've just completed my third year on city council, and so looking forward to finishing strong with this first term, and look forward to continuing to serve this community. My thing is there's so many talented people in this community that believe in so many different initiatives, and for me, one of the big reasons why I decided to run was that as a residential taxpayer, I felt that we can always increase the business tax base of our community, and that's kind of been a big part of my involvement on city council, is to encourage and promote and make it easier for development to occur, commercial development to occur in our community, to increase that tax base and diversify that tax base. And so I think we've made significant strides the last few years. We've had a collective great group of council members and mayor where we've really truly accomplished a lot of things that there were somewhat kind of stumbling blocks for previous councils. Working new contracts with our union personnel, firefighters and police was a big accomplishment for us. The fact that we were able to push along some initiatives like the downtown renovation for a market, a farmer's market. It's been a great experience to be part of those meetings, to help nudge it, and to the point where we have a developer involved is just a great feeling to have been part of that. And others, I mean, I think our park system, we've continued to support our park system to add a new community center, for example, that we negotiated with the Metropolitan Community Colleges. So I'm proud of all those things and just being able to help make a difference in many aspects. I love definitely spending time with my family. We have 3 daughters and they're all fairly active, in some in sports and other extracurricular activities. But for me, I love being outdoors. I love the trails, I love riding my bike, and I love playing golf. And we have awesome amenities and options within our community to have that kind of a lifestyle. This June will be 25 years that my wife and I have lived in Lee Summit and have raised 3 daughters in this community. I know this city has incredible, talented residents that come from all different walks of life, very diverse group of families in our community, that it's so rewarding to be involved on a government level or some kind of civic commission or committee, that in many cases you get out of it more than you put in, and I truly live by that, and I believe that.
so you guys can, there'll be people probably walking in as we're talking. But I'm Councilmember Pryor. Councilmember Shields. Thank you everyone for coming, and thank you to the Raintree POA and Josh Cresswell, the General Manager of Operations. The bathrooms are in the back. You guys probably know better than I do where they are. So they're somewhere in the back, and there's snacks and water in the kitchen. So again, thank you all so much for coming out tonight. We're really glad that we have such a great turnout. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about what our kind of agenda and format is tonight, tell you a little bit about some of our council priorities and some projects, and then I'm going to turn it over to staff. So like I say, we'll go through some presentations by staff about some projects that are going on in the district and around the city. And then after that, we're not going to have a formal question and answer session. What we're going to do is there will be different departments that each have a table. So we'll have our Public Works has a table, Water Utilities, Development Services. And so the folks who actually know how the city works and can answer your real questions, you can go around and talk to them. Me and I will also be here to talk one-on-one with folks and answer any questions that we can, take comments. But we find that works really well, so that if you have a real specific question about speed humps, you can talk to Public Works, or if you have a question about stormwater drainage or any businesses coming to town, you can talk to Development Services, that kind of thing. So we did want to talk to you just a little bit about kind of some big topics you may be hearing about in the city. Last year we had a council retreat where we all got together as a group and kind of identified some big goals for what we want to do as a city, and kind of we call them our big rocks, the things that are kind of big and heavy and hard to tackle, but we got to identify them. So those are things like stormwater. We have a lot of issues with flooding and infrastructure, things like trash service, having discussion about whether or not to do a single trash hauler for the city. Things like beautification and how we make the city a more attractive place to live in. Things like housing, how do we make it so that people can afford to live here and that their kids can be here and their parents can age in place and things like that. So as we identified those, we've kind of assigned those to different committees, so we're working through those and trying to figure out what we can do as a council to start tackling some of these big priority areas. So that's been kind of our focus this year. Councilmember Pryor is leading our Public Works Committee, and they've been doing great work on stormwater, so you may be hearing a lot more about that soon as we try to identify how we can expand services, that you don't see all those orange plastic fences around sinkholes, that we actually have enough folks on staff to be able to fix those problems and then do preventive maintenance before they become problems. So we're trying to work through that, identify funding sources so that we can be more proactive on some of those things that we've heard from folks are really important to them. So those are kind of big topics that we're looking at, and then we also wanted to touch on a couple of projects that have gotten done recently. We're super excited that Green Street has opened. It is in the 1st District, which goes all the way up to downtown. So the new farmers market, pavilion, event space, playground, which is great. We both have little kids, and having an actual playground right next to the farmers market just blows their mind. My son asks every day, can we go to City Hall playground? Since it's all part of the whole City Hall plaza. So we've been really excited about that. We're actually going to hear from staff a little bit about the police department substation that just opened down here in Raintree. So we're seeing a lot of great projects come online that hopefully you all will get to enjoy. So I'm going to go ahead and just ask our staff, who's all kind of in the back, to sort of wave and say hi. We really appreciate them being here. Some of them are going to come up and speak, and then the rest of them will be here to answer your questions after we finish these presentations. So I think we are going to turn things over to Aaron Evans with the police department to talk about the substation, if he is ready. Fair enough. That's absolutely fine. Michael Park, I see you. You want to go ahead and come up and talk a little bit about the solid waste and stormwater that we've already touched on just briefly?
Thank you, council members. Michael Park, I'm the Director of Public Works, and so I'm going to try to keep it to a couple minutes for each of these 2 priority goals, solid waste and stormwater. Then I have some additional staff that can help answer your questions on stormwater and solid waste. So I'll start with stormwater. It's actually been strategic priority. It's in the city's Ignite Citizen Strategic Plan. It was in LS 360 prior to that. It's been around for decades as an issue in our community that we need to address. And through good work of our Public Works Committee, through a previous Stormwater Task Force, we have narrowed that down to a recommended funding solution. It will go to the voters. City Council just in their last session had supported us to bring forward an ordinance for a ballot measure in 2026, and August was the selected election. And what will be on the ballot is a 1/4-cent sales tax for stormwater, and that's to improve our stormwater level service, maintenance, response, flood mitigation, our permitting requirements, water quality, public education. There's a lot of service levels that go into stormwater. And essentially what we move from is about an $800,000 a year budget that we have for stormwater right now to a $6 million a year budget. It allows us to expand our personnel, equipment, contracts, do smaller capital projects, tackle the public education, and a lot of other elements with stormwater. So look forward to that coming in 2026. It's long overdue for really the voters to weigh in on what they find is needed in level service for stormwater. And through working with our City Council and Public Works Committee, we're finally moving that big rock forward. Another one was solid waste, and this is contracting solid waste. It's also in our city's Ignite strategic plan and was identified as one of those strategic priorities by City Council to move forward. We really started a lot of that work early on in the year, and we went through an engagement process where we were talking with the trash haulers. Right now there's about 10 trash haulers that do residential service. They also do commercial services, and we have a lot of other commercial service haulers. And this initiative only affects residential curbside service. So any of those that are still in the business of commercial hauling, it's still the case. And so we talked with haulers, we talked with HOAs, we had neighborhood or council district-wide informational meetings. We've been reaching out, getting public comment. There was a statistically valid survey of citizens a year ago asking them what their priorities were. Really, probably to no surprise, priority in trash services cost. Then it's the availability services, the reliability services, then choice among service providers. And so at this point in time, we're working with the Public Works Committee to develop a request for proposals for potential haulers to bid on those set of services that the committee will agree is what the community wants. We were also working with a task force, and their work has been done. Their work was to advise city staff on what those preferential standards would be, those levels of service that a contract could provide. And we're really in this exploration phase, and until we have proposals submitted with costs and services, really the City Council hasn't yet had enough information to make a decision. So we'll be advancing that throughout the rest of this year, arriving hopefully at a request for proposals to be available for contractors to bid on, and those proposals being received over the new year, and early in 2026, City Council will be prepared to make a decision whether to contract or not. One of the biggest questions about the contracting is, what about HOAs? Really, a third of our community is already within an HOA that contracts, and the City Council and Public Works Committee's advised that if you contract, we want to allow you to continue contract. I mean, we're not saying a single hauler for the entire city. What we're saying is we're going to consolidate and use that power of single hauler for all those that don't have the representation of an HOA to use that buying power, right? So that we can try to manage those costs lower, improve those service levels, and actually under a contract, the city would have some authority to ensure that customer services are provided. I'd be happy to talk more about trash back there at the table, as well as stormwater, and I think maybe a little later on we'll talk about capital projects too. Unless you want me to do that? Okay, it's a lot here. So also we'll be ready to talk to you about projects, capital work that the city is doing. And there's a lot actually in District 1. From Douglas Street north of downtown, Douglas Street south of downtown, Ward Road, between kind of that downtown, or where Quick Trip is, and Chipman. 2 different phases there. We have Ward and Purcell's, which is on the edge of your district. You have 291 North Interchange, which is under construction by MoDOT. 3rd Street project, also to be done here in November, kind of from 50 Highway to downtown. The bridge rehabilitation that's going on, that will be done, scheduled to be done in November as well. So a lot of capital work that's going on in the community. I'm happy to talk about details on those capital projects.
Thank you so much. So I think next, do we have Officer Evans here yet, or should we skip down the agenda? All right. So we are going to hear a little bit about a very exciting project here in Raintree, the police substation that just opened.
All right, I'm Aaron Evans. I'm a captain at the police department. Thank you for having us out here tonight. My portion is to talk about our wonderful new South substation right there at 150 and Windermere. It was the old Fire Station 5, and they got a brand new building just down the road. Also a very wonderful addition. If you're not aware, this was all a part of the no tax increase bond issues that we passed a few years ago, and we're now really starting to see the fruits of all that come into play. So the South Substation came about as a part of a plan to provide additional resources in our extremities. You know, our city is a very north-south linear city, and as we're growing out and the population is expanding, we recognize that to provide the services at the level that we have in the past is going to require additional resources, and that includes additional substations. And so we were able to redo Station 5 into our police substation. It is open now. Currently, just because of some staffing issues, we are only open from 8 to 5. Now, the building is available to take walk-in reports 24 hours, 7 days a week. When you go up to the building, there's a speaker box on the outside, goes right to our dispatch. If there's nobody at the building at that time, they will buzz you into our little atrium area and dispatch the district car or the nearest available officer to come take your report. But from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, we have one of our community interaction officers down there, Officer Phil Tucker, who lives in this area, very, very familiar with this area and the needs of this part of the city. We have our impact officers. If you're not aware, the department completely redid the DARE program that was just not updating itself, and we have a wonderful new program for the schools called Impact that is actually starting to grow and expand throughout the metro. They are located there, as well as the youth services sergeant, who is over the Impact unit, and Captain Dukes, who is over youth services, is also stationed out of the station there. If one of them happens to be there during that 8 to 5, because they do have to be out in the schools or out in the community, but if they are there, they'll absolutely take your report right there if you come into the station. The hope is that in the near future, we will actually house patrol officers out of the substation, and they will report there for duty, just as they would have to the main headquarters. They'll get their shift briefings there, and they will deploy out to the southern districts to have a faster response. The substation is kind of a mini police station. It is outfitted very similar to the police headquarters. So it has a workout facility, it has a little kitchen area, it has computer stations that the officers can do the reports at, it has permanent office spaces for the groups that I just mentioned, and it has evidence lockers as well. And so they can pretty much do just about everything they need to do from a police station right there at the substation. Eventually, any type of property or evidence will be transferred up to our main headquarters. That is our primary physical evidence depository. We have our evidence techs that would come down multiple times during the week to collect the items and then take them back to the police station. We were really glad to have this. It's a very important part of the expansion, and it really is the vision of our chief to look ahead and see what the city's needs are and not just respond to what is going on now. As I'm sure you're aware, we're having a lot of development that's already in the planning stages for all that farmland, and this will be a great get ahead of it, have the substation ready. So as those turn into neighborhoods and businesses and the density begins to build, the police department is already there, the fire department's already has stations ready, and the services don't deplenish because we weren't prepared to staff and resource that area. So, thank you very much.
Thanks so much. All right, we are going to have a development update from Tracy Albers.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Tracy Albers. I'm the Director of Development Services for the city. I've only been with the organization for about 3 months. And so in an effort to get the lay of the land, a couple nights a week, we put our kid in the car and we go drive through neighborhoods. And one of the things that I've realized, especially about this district, is that there's a lot of diversity as you go from north to south in the district, to east to west. There is diversity in a lot of the housing types that are offered to residents, young, old, everywhere in between, and also a lot of diversity in the commercial offerings that we have, retail, restaurant, industrial, and manufacturing. And so what we've tried to do this evening at our station is focus on the projects in the District 1 that really evidence this. So we've got our planning manager, our project manager in the back, that have information on projects, residential projects, projects with commercial components, retail, restaurant, and they're in all stages of the process. We have some that have just received occupancies, some that have been approved by mayor and council, and they're working through their way administratively with staff, and some that have been submitted for applications that are undergoing staff review. So to that end, we'll turn you loose on those projects later, and also to, if there are properties in this district that you'd like to talk to us about because you don't feel like they're being mowed enough, or there's trash that bothers you, and you feel like they're an eyesore, just drive you bonkers when you see them every single day. We've got people here to speak to you about that as well. And I guess that I would say in closing, just some stats overall about development in the city. This year to date, we've issued over 1,100 permits for dwelling units. A couple hundred of those are in this district, combination of single family, low density residential, and multifamily apartments. With the continued momentum for, many of you guys know this, the PRI properties, the infrastructure coordination, the continued evolution and development of those sites, it will add to the maturity of the community. And I think it's fair to say, I came to Lee Summit from the Atlanta metro area, and at a time when a lot of suburban communities are starting to see a real slowdown in growth, both from a residential perspective and a commercial perspective, it's refreshing to come here and see that there are developers, business owners, and residents wanting to make continued investments in the Lee Summit community. So we'll all be available for you this evening. Love to talk development, could do it for hours, but I wanted to keep it to 3 minutes. Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right, we have saved the fun one for last. Joe Snook from the Parks Department is going to tell us about some exciting projects they have coming up too.
That's right. Good evening, everybody. It's great to see all of you. I'm the fun one. So I was going through my list with staff yesterday and said, hey, let's take a quick look and see what's happening in District 1. Holy cow, we got a lot going on. So I'm going to share a few projects with you. Because we're the fun group, they put us clear in the back in the kitchen tonight. So if you want to come talk to me about any of these projects or parks, just keep going to the very back. Okay. But the good news is there's water and there's treats back there. So I'll be handing out treats while I'm over there. So a few projects that are happening in District 1 that we're excited about. We're going to be adding to our public art in the parks. Our first mural in the park system is going to be added at Pleasant Lee Park. So if you're familiar with that park, we have some outdoor handball racquetball courts. So we're going to paint a mural on that on the side of that. So we're excited about that. Red Hawk Park is the newest park that's under development right now. That is located just west of Eagle Creek. You actually currently have to go through Eagle Creek to get to that park. That park should open in about 4 or 5 weeks. So hopefully before the end of October, that park will be open. That park will have what we call a sports court. So there's going to be a tennis court, a pickleball court, and a half-court basketball, along with trails, a shelter and playgrounds, those kind of amenities. So we're very excited about adding that to District 1. We are also adding a pickleball court complex. Now that is it's not in your guys' district, but it is a pretty cool community asset that's going to be added. It's going to be 12 courts lit, and it's going to be over at Longview, next to Longview Community Center, over on the MCC Longview by their campus. And that is well under construction, and we hope that that'll be open hopefully by the end of November, early December. So if there's any pickleball players in here, a couple, okay, 12 courts coming, so get excited. Or also doing some playground improvements at Harris Park. So at Harris Park Community Center, right next to Summit Waves, we're going to be adding some additional playground features. We're in the process of taking out all the mulch throughout all the park system at our playgrounds and replacing that with artificial turf. So we'll be making some improvements to the Harris Park playground turf also. And we're also going to do some turf improvements at Summer Park. And then we have 45 acres of land on the very east side of the district, right off Ransom Road, called Bailey Farm. We used to do some fall program out there many, many years ago. Well, we are back to revisiting the master plan right now, updating that, and then hopefully in the next year or two, we'll be going out for design services to start construction. Well, to start the design of that and then go into construction of the Bailey Farm Park. So we're very excited about that. And then the last project I would mention, which happens to also be in District 1, but it's going to be a very nice community project. That's our field house. So we are in the process of designing a field house, and everybody wants to know what's going in it. Right now, it looks like we're going to have 10 basketball courts in there, which will also be available for 14, I believe, volleyball courts is what we've targeted. There'll probably be several pickleball courts also striped on those courts. We know that one of the big issues in Lee Summit is indoor practice space. We struggle with practice space and game space for our youth sports, so this is going to be a great addition to help address a lot of those needs, as well as needs for the competitive side of the sports spectrum in our community. So that is going to be in the Oldham Village development, so right at the corner of 291 and 50 Highway. So basically, you know where Harris Park is in the water park? We're going to be catty corner from that, where that new development is happening right now. So it'll be on the southwest side of 291 at that intersection. So we're excited. So with that, I'm in the very back. I love to take questions, love to talk to you about what's happening in parks. We're having a lot of fun. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. So thank you again to all the staff who presented, to everyone who has come out tonight, both residents and staff. Y'all are giving up your evenings to be doing something more fun, so we're glad that you're here with us. So just a reminder, we're going to have Q&A tables after this. So we're going to have fire department in the kitchen, along with the police, public works in the fireplace lounge with water utilities as well, development services there as well. Looks like Parks is in the kitchen, city manager in the fireplace lounge, and then Mia and I will just be circulating. But if you have a question, just go up to any of us or any of the staff members, and they can point you towards the right department to help answer a particular question. If you don't want to stay and you have a question that you'd like to have answered, Sean is here and he's waving right now, and he can take your comment card. So if you want to write a question and leave your contact information, we'll be happy to either have us get back to you or the relevant staff department. And he's got those up on the little welcome table there. So I think with that, thank you again for being here, and we're just going to go ahead and have our breakouts. Thanks, guys.